let's get into transfers because this is interesting. This is what everyone wants to talk about this time of the year. This is what we spend our days scrolling through, searching on Twitter. Well, I do anyway. Tom probably doesn't because he's not as sad as me. And George has dropped the bond sell from Fabrizio. I was checking as well that it was the real account because there's saddles these days who put on these weird accounts, isn't it? So I'll just read it out again. So exclusive from Fabrizio Romano. Exclusive. Burnley have open talks to sign Mohamed Darami from Ajax. Vincent Kompany wants Danish winger at all costs. Understand Ajax rate Darami highly, but Burnley push him as Kompany considers him a top target. Negotiations ongoing over permanent transfer. Right, this is really interesting. So I'm in the ilk of you can never have too many players, but at the same time we don't have an unlimited budget, or it doesn't, or maybe we do. I don't know if Pace has been asking kind of like Bill Gates or something for a little bit of coin. But listen, another winger. I know nothing about him. I've never heard of him, but obviously because I heard of him 2 minutes ago from George, I'm desperate to sign him because that's how the transfer window works. George or Tom, have you done any research on Durrani since I've been hosted and not been able to have a chance to?
Yeah, I'm deep in the googling, and it seems that
That's what I thought.
as we say, a young Danish talent. He's 21 years old. Started his youth career with Copenhagen before moving to Ajax a couple of years ago. Now, since
How
then, he
old is
has
he,
been.
George?
He's only 21. Since then, he's been back from Ajax on loan at Copenhagen for a season. And whilst at Copenhagen on that loan, he scored 8 goals in 28 games, which from the wing isn't too shabby. Now, yeah, I think he'll be valued around. It looks to be about 10 to 12 million. Ajax signed him though for 12 million in 2021, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that figure going up towards 15 to 18 million for when we inevitably sign him. But yeah, it's remarkable. We're spending a lot of money, aren't we? Tom, I know your thoughts
Hmm.
might be different to me and Rich on this because we're more than happy to just get all these lads in the door and have some exciting options up front, even if we have 20 of them.
Yeah, I don't understand why we're signing so many wingers. I can't get my head around it at all. I don't. Is she going to bring it? I mean, he sounds like a good player. I've actually seen him play a couple of times, Durham, because I've got a friend who supports Copenhagen, so I've been over a couple of times. Um, I
Did he
wouldn't
go?
say anyone. I wouldn't say anyone that I watched over there stood out particularly, to be honest. But I know that he's very highly rated, to borrow a phrase, over there. I know they were glad to get him back. I think he just didn't really break into the team at Ajax. So I just don't understand why you spend these money on these players. You've got Brun Larsen, we're still on about trying to get Teller back. You've already got Benson and Zarori. We've brought in Redmond. We're going to bring in Townsend, another wing, Koleosho. Why do you need so many
And that
wingers?
Odegaard, who we seem to have had a bid accepted for.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
is this going? Sorry to interrupt, Tom. Do you think all this is going back to? I don't know if anybody. It was very good, by the way. If you've not listened to it, so big shout out to the BOLM podcast where they had Sasha. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his surname. And I remember him saying that we have loads of targets and we just bid for loads and then kind of see where we're going. Is it a case of this that all of a sudden we're bidding and the targets the more are being accepted and different journalists are picking up different bits and then we're going to decide that we're signing one, we're going to sign another. It is a really interesting one. The logic behind it I can see is that who wins your games of football? Attackers do. And I think Kompany knows that probably in the Premier League, maybe with injuries and lads going away to the AFCON and different things like that, he probably wants a big pool of attacking options that he can bring off the bench. And I think looking at now, you've got nine. You can have 9 substitutes in the Premier League. Maybe stack your bench a little bit higher with attacking players. But I do agree with you, Tom. When George said Fabrizio with open talks with a player from Ajax, I was hoping it was going to be a left back or a centre mid or even a striker or even a sub right back possibly. So it's a massively interesting one, and like you said, it seems like a deal's agreed for Townsend. So if we list them off, like what we can class as wingers: Redmond, Townsend, Zaruri, Benson, Koleosho, Brun
Brun
Larsen,
Larsen.
possibly you've had maybe more of a centre. Gunmunson who can play there. I don't think Gunmunson will be anywhere near a wing though in the Premier League, to be honest. Then possibly like Teller who can play out wide. This lad, that's 10. Darami will be 11. Then you've got Cherlanov. Then you've got like I know. So I think Cherlanov will go by the way, but it's very very interesting, isn't it? I'm not really asking a question to any of the two of you, but it is a bit of a. It's just come as a shock, hasn't it, when you're doing a podcast and this comes up? So
yeah, I think I think it might be the case that maybe at the start of the summer, because it's all well and good now we're sat here where there's this flurry of activity. I think if we think back maybe a month or a month and a half, we really seem to be struggling to sign any targets that we had at all. And I think during that period where it was like, right, let's send Redmond because he's someone we can get. Let's get Brun Larson, we can get him. And now we've signed these lads. You're getting towards August. You're getting towards the start of the season. Teams are more willing to do business. And whilst we've already stockpiled the likes of Redmond and Brun Larson, who, let's be honest, wouldn't probably be our first choice signings in any position, and then new targets are coming up, it's like, right, let's go and get them now. Oh, but we have also got Brun Larson here, but you can't really turn down these high priority targets just because you've already signed the likes of Redmond and Brun Larson. So I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to get, these priority targets, and if it means Brun Larson, Redmond, etc., have limited game time, then that it is what it is, because it's what they signed up for when they came to challenge for the Premier League.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? And Townsend has seemed to have been a done deal all this time, but then he's actually not signed by now. So has that been agreed? And we've gone, well, actually, hold on, these players are coming in again. We'll see on that one.
Or do you reckon maybe it could be Townsend? Townsend thinking, do I want to sign? Because look at all these
Possibly.
wingers. So it could have been a mutually beneficial thing where he's got fitness, etc. But it might be the case if we get towards later in August, we shake hands and he goes to another club.
I still think Ollie Osho will be I'm not saying he'll be an academy player, but I don't think he'll be a prominent figure. I might be wrong. Like if he's absolutely flying, before we move on to other positions, I am going to leave a bit of a bombshell, and I mentioned it on our WhatsApp group. And he's not played so far. He's injured. It wouldn't surprise me, and I'm not saying it will happen, but I wouldn't be shocked if Benson wasn't a Burnley player come after the transfer window. It actually wouldn't surprise me, but I hope I'm very, very wrong on that. Just all these wingers coming in and him not playing, and there's been a bit of conjecture on that. And I know, Tom, you said either you wouldn't be wholly surprised, would you? Even though I don't think it will happen, it wouldn't surprise me. There's a difference there between I don't think it will happen between being it wouldn't shock me. Like if Josh Cullen left, that would shock me, but it wouldn't shock me if Benson left.
Yeah, just unless there's going to be outgoings, it doesn't make sense the amount of wingers we're signing to me. So yeah, and with him not playing, as you say, it might just be a niggle and he might be in the plans. And for some reason, Kompany thinks that we need all these wingers. But yeah, if you put two and two together, it does seem like that's a possibility, and it's maybe something that they're thinking about.
Yeah, so we'll move on to other positions. We've been linked with a left back. I'm not going to pronounce his surname, Hartman from Ajax. That's definitely a priority position for me. It seems like the number one priority position. 20 million we're linked with him again, George. Ooh, Pacemaker's getting the wallet out, and he's like DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street, like fun coupons.
Yeah, well, it's all
the way he's going.
It's all those membership packages we're selling. The money's flying in.
Yeah.
No, but this Hartman, yeah, I mean, some of these transfer fees will get Tom's heart going, but if any player might do, it might be Kwilinski Hartman, who I'm absolutely certain the Bob Lord will call Lindsay Harter within a month. So if Lindsay can come in, that could be tremendous because he's 21 years old. He plays ahead of Ian Matson in the Dutch under-21 side. So clearly there's a player there. He's playing for Feyenoord.
Yeah.
The rumoured transfer fee is, around 20 million again. So he must be a good player. And this is one that, from a few people who know European football far better than me, they're quite excited about this one. So if Matson's not a possibility, which it seems to be the case with how he's impressed in Chelsea's pre-season, this might be a perfect alternative.
Yeah. And then the other two I'm going to mention, Lokonga seems like it's happening. I think that'll be a really good signing for us. I think we've been crying out for a bit of athleticism, a bit of power in that middle of midfield, and obviously it can play. Tom, would you be happy with that one?
Yeah, as you say, I think he's just got the attributes that we need in there, and a bit of Premier League experience as well. I know he's not that old and he's not played that many games, but it's still a bit more than we've got, especially in that position. Obviously, you wouldn't like to think that Cork will play too many games next season. I think his legs have gone a little bit. So, yeah, he, as you say, ticks all the boxes. And if we get him on loan for a year as well, we'd have to pay too much up front. That's even better.
Yeah, and then I suppose if he does well for us and we do stay up, we seem to be having more of these options to buy or obligations to buy, so we don't get left in the position we was trying to replace players. And then I seen another one was Jacob Ramsey, we bid for and apparently very interested in. So listen, I'm going to just take all this as a massive positive. And, I know you can look at it and go, yeah, there's maybe one or two many wingers here, but I'm not going to complain after like seeing Peters on the wing and Josh Benson and different things like that. And I think Kompany has said in the past that, look at your top clubs. He does want a lot of attacking talent. We said last year, I remember Zaruri signing and thinking, well, why do we need Zaruri? So yeah, that's that one.
The No Nay Never podcast is brought to you in association with the Talk Sport Fan Network. Natalie Bromley is the host and editor, and the show is produced by Matt Moss. Our resident statistician is Dave Roberts, and our FPL expert is Adam Dennett. The Analysis Show team is collectively Tom Whittaker, Richard Steele, George Poole, Charlotte Rigby, Adam Dennett and Robbie Kopak. Our music is provided by George Gaskill, and our newsletter team is headed up by Jamie Smith. If you don't already, you can subscribe to our newsletter by visiting nonaynever.substack.com. Our thanks as ever go to our partners TalkSport. We are as ever proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.